welcome to Furious Driving, and this is the monthly Junk in the Trunk postbag and questions posed by the Patreons and channel members thing that we do once a month. Third week of the month we normally do this thing. Now before we go any further, I'll do a little tiny bit of housekeeping because I look quite closely at the analytics of these videos, so I know what gets liked, what gets disliked, what people generally approve of and disapprove of. And I can tell you that this particular video is the only one I put out every month that regularly gets more dislikes and actual unsubscribes than anything else. So I will just say this now at the very beginning, 20 seconds into it. If you don't like postbag or Q&A videos, just watch something else now. Please don't hit unsubscribe and please don't hit dislike. If you're not going to like that kind of thing, don't sit through it. It's going to be 20 minutes of your life you'll have wasted. Then we'll both feel bad. You'll have unsubscribed and disliked and I'll feel sad, and you'll feel annoyed because you'll have watched something you don't like. Let's just make it better for everyone. Don't do the unsubscribe and dislike thing. Just walk away now. We'll all be happier. Just saying. Right, normally what I do is I'll do the Q&A first and then I'll do the postbag second. Not as much turned up this month. Don't know why, just didn't. So this month we've got more questions than postbag, so we'll do that first. Now before I open the boot and delve in, I will just say don't forget mugs with the Rover logo, the Furious Driving logo, Alpha 145, Rover Coupe, Quentin the convertible, the 90s Rover logo, Scrappage Scheme Survivor, I forget what else there is. There's absolutely loads. They're all on the Redbubble store, available as mugs, stickers, t-shirts, baseball shirts, notebooks, phone cases, all kinds of stuff. All that's on Redbubble. There's a link in the description, as is a link to the woolly hats, which I know it's getting warm this time of year now, but we've got grey, yellow, blue in this style, and the black ones, all on a link in the description, which I've got in a bag in my office waiting to be posted out. So if you'd like one, look at the link in the description below and see what's there to find. Right, let's crack on with Junk in the Trunk. Now first of all, there were a couple of things that turned up through unusual means. Now this one came from the owner of the Volkswagen Beetle we reviewed not so long ago. Last time on Junk in the Trunk, I put out a request for number plates of the world, and that request still stands. If you've got a number plate from Canada, New Zealand, anywhere on the African continent, the rest of Europe, I'm missing a lot of Europe at the moment, I'm trying to build a complete collection of all number plates of the world to put over there on the garage wall, or if we get a unit, what's the plan, we can sort of furnish the wall with number plates of the planet, so bringing the global furious fraternity. Anyway, the Beetle we shot recently, it's having a new back bumper at the moment with better paint on it, and so we got a UK number plate for the first time. This came in. This is not the plate that's on the car that we reviewed. This is the plate from the donor bumper. This is a British 2002 number plate from the rear of the car, because it's yellow if you're abroad. We have white ones on the front, yellow ones on the back, so you can tell which way a car's facing when you see the reflection in the dark. This is a 2002 Volkswagen Beetle number plate from Britain. So that will be on the wall in the global plates collection, because I've got plenty of my own plates, but my own plates make a separate collection, because, you know, the thing you have to do when you've had cars over the years is save the number plate and screw it on the garage wall. It's the law. So my British plates are separate to those plates. So yeah, this is good. Thank you very much indeed. So I'll show you this again in case you didn't get close enough to the camera. Interestingly, the font for British plates changed a couple of times. It was different in the 80s to the 90s to the post, I think about 1998 or 2000 or so, when we got this particular font. And then around this time, normally you would have had the EU blue stripe. Of course, we've now lost that again. So this is interesting because it's EU period, but not EU blue flash. In fact, I'm curious as to what the 2022 number plate designation is going to be, because 02 became 62 and then we're now on 71, so it can be 72 next year. That's weird. Odd. Anyway, secondly, we have another box which arrived, and I've now lost in the boot of the Rover. Here we go. This box arrived from another previous car reviewer owner. This one, if I open this up, I did previously open it off camera. This box contains a car that was very popular indeed. I really enjoyed driving it. I'd never sat in one or even seen one in the UK before. And this is a Volga M21. Identical, apart from the fact this is a pre-facelift. It's got the deer on the front, as in a prancing emblem hood ornament. And the one I drove was a Phase 3, I think, which had the flat badge. Same colour, virtually the same trim around the car. Now, I'm not saying it's essential if I review one of your cars in the future, you do have to now provide me with a small model of that said car, but it is appreciated. You know, there's no sleaze here. There's no bribery and corruption required. I'm not a politician, so you know, it's just very, very nice and very much appreciated when it does happen. This is actually the first time it has happened. So that is a very cool Volvo model, which is going to live in my office amongst various other models which I've got up there. Now, what else is in the back of the Rover? This I've already opened. I've taken the envelope off it. Turn up from Steve. Thank you, Steve. This is from 2010. I don't know if I'm breaking copyright by showing you this. Classic and Sports Car magazine actually did a Sinclair C5 article, which I guess would have been 25 years of the C5, wouldn't it? Because it was 1985 when the C5 came out. 2010, that makes 25 years. C5 Alive. Now, C5 Alive was the club, which I think is still going. So this article is actually really fun. It says a lot about the history of the C5 and the club as it was 10 years ago. That's some quite exciting reading. I will hold this up to the camera so you can see it more clearly. This is when, I think this is shot in Cambridge, because that's where Sinclair Electronics was based. Tracking photos of a Sinclair C5, or group of C5s. It must have been absolutely terrifying being the guy at the back with that Fiat Panda closing up behind, because a Fiat Panda is quite massive if you're in a Sinclair C5. And if you look at this shot here, it does look like it was absolutely freezing on that day, and probably raining as well. And they took them to a Curry's, because that's where they were. Curry's? Yeah, well, Comet. Sorry, a Comet, because that's where they were selling them from. £399 base price. And interesting, I did learn from this article that I already knew they were £399 without any accessories, but I didn't realise that they dropped the price to £150 in store when they discontinued them, because they were trying to get rid of them. If only I had £150 back in 1985 when I was at primary school. It was quite a lot of money back then. So yeah, that is really cool. Thanks, Steve. Great for the C5 archive though, because that's good to have. Now, what else do we have? Okay, let's open something with an address on it. Let's have a sip of tea. Let's grab a Stanley and see what we can find. Now, everyone has always packaged these up really well. I'm always worried I'm going to break stuff trying to break into the envelopes. Oh, okay. There are many things in here. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Aha! This is from James. This is from James. Thank you, James, in the Alfa Romeo Owners Club. This is the warning panel from the Alfa 145. If you see just here, there's a little pictogram of the top of the car and little red LEDs by the doors in the boot to show that your panels are open. The one in my car has got 5 doors because it's taken from a 146 for some reason. This one though has only got 3 little LEDs, 2 front ones and a boot, because it's for a 145. Fantastic. It's got the rear, I think that's front fog lights actually, because the rear fog lights are on the indicator stalk, because it's a really odd place and you find yourself turning the rear fogs on all the time by mistake. And the boot opening button. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you, James. It's also, oh cracky, including a screw. This is a little bracket that holds the radio in place so my radio might stop falling out with the addition of that. And also, this is an exciting thing which I didn't know was a thing, Alfa 145 146 key fob. That's really cool. I can live on the keys for the Alfa. I'm going to put that screw somewhere safe so I don't lose that, because that's the kind of thing I do. And there is a stick here which I'm guessing might be something to do with Alfa Romeo Owners Club, which I need to go and pop in the car window. I also checked my membership. I think my membership might have elapsed, so I need to go and make sure I'm still in the club. But yeah, that is really cool. Thank you, James. That's brilliant. That's really, really cool. Now, what else is lurking in the boot? Now, this one has been intriguing me because I haven't opened anything until now. Well, mostly I haven't opened it. This one is very heavy and it rattles, and I'm really hoping it rattled before it was posted as well. Let's find out. Wow, lots of gaffer tape on this one. Okay, there's a covering letter and some spanners by the look of it. Oh, So there is a letter here, posted on the March 21st, so this has actually taken a couple of weeks to arrive to me, and then actually, obviously for me to open it. Hi Matt, aka Furious Driving. I've really enjoyed your channel during lockdown and continue to do so. Thank you very much indeed. It's actually during lockdown, it gave me something to do, so it was actually quite nice for both ends of the, the equation. I hope the enclosed non-metric spanners will be useful to the old Rovers. Aha! If not, please feel free to dispose of them to anyone who can make good use of them. Excellent. Thank you, John. I never know if I should say people's last names or not, so I'll just leave it at John for today. And if it's okay to say your last name, then do come on to the Facebook or something and let us know. So we have, wow, hence the weight and the rattling. Whoop. Wow, actually quite a haul of, that's useful, that's a 1/2 inch and a 9/16 stubby. So a P6 you can virtually take apart with a 1/2 inch and a 9/16. As long as you have a 7/16 and a Phillips screwdriver, you can virtually dismantle a car. And a little stubby ring spanner like that is extremely useful. In fact, it's a few stubbies. That's another 1/2 inch stubby 9/16. Oh, 5/8 and a 3/4. Really useful sizes actually. Very, very common sizes, but also stubby. You don't often find a stubby Imperial spanner. I mean, looking around trying to buy Imperial tools is getting harder and harder, it seems. 9/16 and 1/2 inch again, different length, but ring spanners. I've got lots of open spanners, not that many ring spanners in 1/2 inch. Going up to the biggest, which is a 3/4 and a 5/8. That's really good. Oh, some good sizes though. Oh, hang on, oh no, it's even bigger but stubbier. Oh, 7/16 Whitworth 1/2 inch. Oh no, I think this is a Whitworth one. I need to go and translate that into something I understand. No, that's very useful indeed. Thank you. Because I have been thinking, I need to go and buy some more 40-year plus age cars because I'm fed up of paying road tax on cars I only use a couple of times a week. Also, there's a tool roll from something. Okay, this is actually quite hard to undo. Yeah, so with some older cars on the fleet, it'd be quite useful to have a few more Imperial spanners. And duplicates are very useful because if I'm going to wind up having cars in various garages around the place, which does look like it might wind up to be the best way of keeping things safe, then it'd be quite handy to have, you know, duplicate of common sizes in different garages, so you can keep, or maybe with the cars even themselves. Oh, I see. These are flat spanners. Those are all crank spanners, or cranked spanners, which are useful for getting into awkward places. And these are open and ringed spanners. Very handy indeed. Again, lots. Oh, some quite nice small ones. The small ones are always quite hard to find because you often find little tiny nuts and bolts that you can't necessarily get. So yeah, we've got quite a nice little collection there of different sizes. That's very handy indeed. Thank you, John. That's brilliant. And in fact, with a tool roll here, I might actually be able to make up a. I definitely can make up a useful tool roll to sit in one of the cars because I was thinking this the other day. I've not got a tool roll in the White Rover, and that would be awesomely useful to have that. So thank you very much indeed. Right, let's delve back into the Rover and see what else we've got in the trunk. It's definitely not junk. Well, I'm rather hoping that everyone does realise that junk in the trunk is an affectionate and humorous name and not an insult of any kind towards anything coming in the post. Right, we appear to have some pet laxative for a cat. Now I don't have a cat, so I'm not quite sure what I'll do with a cat laxative. Unless, of course, this is just a repurposed box. Purposed. You see what I did there? Oh, I make myself laugh too much sometimes. No, it's not cat laxative. It is. Oh, hello. Oh, it's a Mini. Brilliant. It's an R50 Cooper. This is Mini complete with Union Jack top. Fantastic. As you know, I do love my R50 Mini. This has got the 16-inch, or is it 17-inch wheel upgrade on this one, and the Union Jack roof decal option, which always looks good on these things. That is so cool. It's even still got the wing mirrors and everything. Nice opening doors so you can see the interior. Quite a good representation of the interior, if you can see that. Got the old central speedometer and actually fairly accurate seats and things as well. That's really cool. Because as you may or may not be aware, it's this week, it marks the 20th anniversary of production of the new R50 Mini beginning, or the prototypes, the pre-production cars starting to roll down the line. So that is very perfectly well timed actually. In fact, my red Mini will be exactly 20 years old in just a couple of days' time. Video coming on that. There's a letter in here as well. Hi Matt, hope you're doing well. Please find enclosed a couple of things to add to any mini stuff you may have, and a sticker for the tool chest. We'll grab that in a second. Have really enjoyed content from Furious Driving over the last year during lockdown. Davey, oh hi Davey, Scottish car enthusiast TV. He has quite an entertaining channel with his collection of odds and sods. Mini Mayhem Scotland lanyard. Oh, that's cool. I need to go up to Scotland, and there's a few cars in Scotland I want to be driving that people have offered me, so I need to go up there sometime. Maybe I can wear that when I go there. That's quite fun. And oops, what else have we got? This is a Scottish car enthusiast TV. I need to find a wall for stickers. I've got my fixed drive ride fly sticker down there. It's quite big on there actually. I don't know. I'll find a home for it. It will find a home very shortly. Somewhere in view. Can you see it just there? Yeah, Scottish car enthusiast Davey, top bloke, nice channel, very entertaining. Okay, and this is actually the last thing in the trunk this week. It's been a very, quite light amount of things to arrive this week. This one looks, fish has got a typed envelope giving no clue as to where it's from. Interesting, nothing from beyond the British Isles this month. Normally we have a fairly large contingent from abroad. Oh, hello. A little token of thanks is enclosed. Best wishes from John, James and all at AROC, it's Alfa Romeo Owners Club, East Midlands. I did a Zoom interview chat with them a week or two ago, which is quite entertaining. They have like a monthly Zoom chat for the members of the East Midlands chapter. It seemed like a very nice group actually. So what have we got in here? Being careful not to drop anything. Nothing rattles. This feels like a mug to me. Oh, check that out. Alfa Romeo Owners Club and the cloverleaf. How good is that? I'm going to go and drink a cup of tea out of this in front of my 145 and see if that cajoles it into springing back to life and not being broken anymore. But not just one, there are two of these things. We shall see what else we've got in here. Another mug. We like mugs. I do like a mug. I do really very much like a mug. No one say you are a mug. Too late, you already have. Oh, love that. Alfa Romeo Owners Club UK in black and silver. Oh, check out the little Alpha and silverness. This is absolutely glorious. My tea, that will taste almost as good as my Rover mug. How about that? Oh, thank you, John and James. That is absolutely fabulous. I love those. Those are very, very nice indeed. I will be getting some seriously good tea and coffee usage. Obviously being Italian, it'll be strong black coffee coming out of those. It has to be really, doesn't it? Wow, thank you. That was a really interesting little haul. If you'd like to send anything into Junk in the Trunk for next month, the address is... not that I can't remember my own address. Furious Driving, PO Box 477, Aylesford, ME69LE. It's in the description below as well. But yeah, if you've got foreign number plates, we're going to get our collection of plates from the world. If you've got bizarre old random brochures from cars gone by, I started tweeting them this week gone by. So I put onto Twitter the Axiom, and I think I put the Reliant on Twitter and Facebook. So I'm gradually sharing the stuff with the world through the medium of Facebook and Twitter, because there's lots of fun stuff that you guys are sending in. So yeah, anything interesting, anything exciting, anything that will raise a laugh, then do send it in and we'll have a laugh together. Right, that is the end of the stuff in the car, the junk in the trunk. Now the Q's and A's from members and Patreons. Now, I'm not very good at doing the perks that go with being a Patreon provider, and I'm not really sure how you do the perks on channel membership. But channel membership and Patreon is basically a way of supporting the channel so we can keep on doing all the stuff on the cars that you watch. So when I have to go and buy endless amounts of parts and services, it basically gets that done so we keep the videos going. But one perk I can offer is that there is an email address that if you become a member or a Patreon, you get, and then you can fire in the questions and the comments, and I'll then read them out and answer them in this section once a month. Now, normally I would print these out and be organised with a bit of paper. However, my printer has broken. I don't know why. So I will use it off the computer and reading direct from the screen. If you're wondering, if you might be wondering, how long does the battery last on a 5-year-old MacBook Pro, which has been used very, very intensely for the last 5 years? The answer is after 5 years, not long enough. So I'm hoping I can talk fast enough to get through this without having to go and get the power adapter. Right, first question. They flew in thick and fast, actually. Got quite a few questions this month. First question is from Tony. Hi, Tony. Thank you for the wonderful content as usual. Thank you, you're welcome. That's very kind of you to say so. Would I ever consider collaborating with Hubnut in the future when restrictions allow, that is? Yes, absolutely. I don't know how many of you actually know this, but both Hubnut and I come from a magazine background. I'm a photographer for car magazines. Hubnut was actually a magazine editor, and he used to be a staff writer on some quite big magazines too. And we have worked together quite extensively in the past. There's a video he did going over to Holland to drive for Classic Jaguar magazine, an incredible prototype of the first ever Jaguars, which we did together. I think I'm audible in the car because he's a passenger in my grey Mercedes. But we have spoken in the past about the possibility of doing stuff together, but obviously restrictions have meant it's been a no-go for the last year or so. But absolutely, yeah, he's someone I count as a friend, and I'm looking forward to trying to do some kind of collaboration video with at some point in the future. We actually did during lockdown. We did like a Zoom chat. I hosted one and he hosted one. So there's 2 Zoom chats between the pair of us out there in our back histories, if you ever hunt back. Right, next question. Oh, also I was going to say, yeah, other collaborations have got in mind, because we did the cheap car challenge back in 2019 when I had the red Hyundai, and it's what I bought the Volvo for, was for a cheap car challenge, which I think Hubnut had been spoken to about, and I think he may have been thinking of coming along to that one again, but I don't know. That was also going to be Laurie's Mechanical Marvels and Lloyd's Vehicle Consulting and Rubbish Mechanic. So yeah, there are collaborations in the future which we are looking forward to as and when. Right, next question is from Mark. Hello, Mark. It says, right, hi Matt. If you've not covered this before, I'd be very interested in your views on the growing electric car market and how fast do you think ICE cars will disappear from our road. My view is that the demise of ICE cars is being rather overplayed. Yes, by 2030 sales of new ICE cars will end, and yes, there are more and more manufacturers who are moving to full electric lineups. But ICE cars, if looked after, can go on for years, absolutely. Until a year ago, I had a 2003 plate Land Cruiser. I sold it and it's still going strong with its new owner. It's a Land Cruiser. It will still be going strong in 50 years as long as there's fuel's put in it. I just think the market for ICE vehicles, including self-charging and plug-in hybrids, will be around for decades yet. I'd be interested in your views, and thank you for this terrific channel. That's very kind of you, thank you. Well, yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree with you just there, because yeah, as you said there in the question, 2030, it's not going to be the end of petrol and diesel. Diesel may be phased out a bit by then, but no, fuel will still be available. It's only new cars you can't sell anymore. So there will be cars going on that were sold in 2030. And if you think a car will last a good 20 years, and new cars which are plodding on as cheap transport, you've got that until like 2050. And because of the cost of new cars, the majority of the car buying public can't afford a new car or don't want the PCP payment that goes with a new car. So they're going to have to wait for the trickle down of older EVs and hybrids to come down into the market. So they're going to be driving hybrids and pure internal combustion cars for decades to come before the price and the availability of battery cars becomes affordable. And don't forget, as electric cars get older, the batteries do wear out. So by the time people are looking at buying the £2,000 car that, say, for example, that's all they can afford, the battery's going to be knackered, so they're not going to be necessarily wanting to go to an electric car. They're still going to want a hybrid or a petrol. So that is not going to be the end of things. And plus, think of the market of classic cars and retro cars. That is worth absolutely millions to the economy. And if you think someone has invested £5 million on some ultra rare Ferrari or Aston Martin or something, they're not going to want to let that go and not be able to use it anymore and have their investment destroyed. So there are rich, powerful people who will continue to lobby for the continuation of availability of petrol. So I don't think that's going to go anywhere. And also, I say this every time the EV and hybrid and everything else, alternative fuel conversation comes up. EVs have got a great place for local urban transport, but anything long distance, anything large, it needs to be hydrogen. And I think the hydrogen infrastructure is going to come along And there is a possibility that cars that run on fossil fuels can be converted to hydrogen. It's not easy, but it can be done. And it's a viable option if you've got a special classic or something you want to keep with its internal combustion engine. I don't know how it's done. I've not looked into it properly yet, but I've been told it can be. So, you know, we'll jump off that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I don't think the future is that bleak for petrol cars just yet. I'm going to say we've probably got until 2050 at least of fairly mainstream internal combustion cars. And also, I do think that the EV infrastructure and the technology of the cars themselves has to improve greatly before it can come along. Right, I think it's a good question. I'm very fascinated by EVs and the future, and worried and fascinated in equal measure. In fact, my biggest qualm with all the new EVs and everything like that is the fact they're all, by necessity, single gear drive automatics effectively. I don't like driving automatics. So yeah, I'm not old enough. I'm at least 25 years too young to have an automatic. And every time I look in an automatic car and look at the driver, unless you've got some kind of physical limitation that means you can't drive a manual, I do just kind of just shake my head inside and feel a little bit sorry for you. There's a dislike or 3 coming. Right, next question. This is from Nigel. Hi Nigel, regular commenter and contributor. How about a tool update? Have you bought any? Yes. Any more Volvo or Mercedes-Benz estate content, i.e. sat-nav in-car update? Watched your France work trip video the other day. TomTom all the way, and can recommend the 6250 Pro truck if it's got Wi-Fi updates. Oh, that's interesting. Did you ever update your car on the Mercedes-Benz? Okay, I'll work backwards on this. I spoke to my local Mercedes-Benz dealer about doing an update to the nav that's in my car, which is in 2010 C250 C-Class. But they said they can put a new DVD CD in it with a database of the maps, but it doesn't improve the actual navigation because it's still only a 4-digit postcode, so it's still really hard to find places on it, so I left that alone. I have been looking around and I found a couple of updating boxes where you basically take the dashboard apart, plug it in the back somewhere. They're quite expensive, so I'm hoping I can do some kind of deal with them when as the channel grows. I mean, I don't want to be one of those people who's just blagging stuff and demanding 25 grand to put springs in my Toyota. But if we could do some kind of sponsorship deal on a video with a company that makes them, that would make that quite doable, because I think the one I like the look of best is about 600 quid. But yeah, no, I do like TomToms as well. I just don't like having lots of trailing wires though, which is really annoying. I also did is it not Blue and Me? It's the Bluetooth adapter, which means your phone can talk to the car and you can log with the maintenance requirements and you can log the journeys you've done in the car. But my car is slightly too old for that to integrate with the nav. Otherwise, if it was about 2 years newer, you could actually send from the Mercedes app the destination you want to drive to, and it'll send it to the car's navigation. But my car is just a smidge too old. So yeah, I'm working on that. Volvo, well, since you sent this email, I have done that little poking under the Volvo, checking for rust video. I do have another video on that coming up probably next week, actually, not on the rust, on other problems with the car. Mercedes estate, I'm going to do a quick roundup. Actually, I have been, funny enough, I haven't read this until now. I've been sort of saving them all to read on camera, which is probably a bad thing to do. Just a quick update on what's going on with that car, because you haven't seen it for months, because it doesn't go wrong. The thing about that, the 204 chassis Mercedes are one of the best cars of the 21st century. They just don't go wrong. Touch wood. So yeah, I'll give you an update on what it's been doing, and yeah, hopefully it won't be too boring. That's the problem, because the problem with that car is it's so good, any update is potentially quite dull because nothing has gone wrong. But I'll try and make it interesting. And finally, this is the bit I'm kind of looking forward to, the tool update. Yes, I have been buying a few tools, because working out here in the garage, you find you've got limitations on what you've got, and you find what you need, and you guys recommend stuff, and often I'm thinking, as I read the comments, yeah, I know I need that, I know. Something people have been nagging me a while about, which I did buy or get hold of the other day, was a set of impact sockets, because people kept telling me off for using regular silver sockets in my impact. I knew I needed to do it, so I did get these last month, actually. I've used them a couple of times, because previously I had, I think, where's it gone? I had 2 or 3 impact sockets. This is a 17. I think I had a 17 and a 19, and a deep 17 or 19 as well, the wheel nut size basically. I just bought them individually. But since I got those ones, I did get the other day a set of deep impacts as well, because sometimes, you know, especially wheel nuts, you need the deeper impact socket, so that I can actually impact stuff and not ruin my sockets or anything else like that. I had some blue paper a second ago that was actually slightly greasy. Other things I have been purchasing, I used this actually in the Mercedes estate video. After I hacked my old 1/4" drive socket extender bar into a drive tool for the oil pump, I did get a new set of 1/4" drive extension bars, but instead of being one long one, they're like a packet of 3 that you can clip together and use all in one go. I actually got a new little drive for them as well, because that was quite nice, a bit more nice than my old one, which it was a good little Halfords one in its day, but it's well used and getting a bit worn out. Other stuff I've picked up is in the anticipation of the V8 actually starting, which, you know, may or may not happen eventually. I was going to do a video on it last week. It didn't work because of reasons that become apparent when I do the video. This is probably why I jinxed it, just by getting this. A timing gun, so I can actually set timing on the thing. So it occurred to me that I've only ever borrowed my dad's timing gun in the past. I've never actually owned one. I've got to the point in my life working on cars since I was a teenager basically, and I've never owned a timing strobe gun. So yeah, that seemed like a sensible thing to get. Yeah, basically, remember when you're up until like 10 years old, the Argos catalogue was the most exciting thing you could read and you could dream. Basically, I'm going to bed scrolling the Draper catalogue at the moment going, yeah, I need one of them, I need one of them. I'll put that over there. Also, it's something else which people have numerously commented on videos and I've known for a long time. Magnetic trays. I've got one tiny magnetic tray which is full of bits of Volvo and it's magneticed onto the roof of the P6. But yeah, what you really need is a magnetic tray for every project. So I've picked up a couple of magnetic trays which I've not even opened yet. A box of stuff only arrived in the post a day ago, so that I can have a magnetic tray full of bits for one project at a time. So I can have one for, say, the Tomcat, one for the Mini, one for the Rover. That'll make my life so much more easy and organised. I think if I get some masking tape and just write what car each one is from as well, my life is becoming organised, dangerously organised. I don't think I'll recognise myself in a few days' time. I can live up there. I've actually bought a couple of them. But yeah, I've got a few more things coming in the post, I hope. So yeah, next couple of videos, see some more exciting, well, interesting tools. I hope they're interesting tools. They're certainly useful tools. Oh, actually possibly the most useful thing I've bought lately from, I don't know, Toolstation or Screwfix or somewhere, was a giant multi-pack of about 10 rolls of blue paper, which are the most useful thing you can have in a garage. You can have one at the bench, one at the garage door, one in the lockup, one in every project car. Because when you're spilling stuff everywhere, even as I started recording this video, I knocked my tea and made a puddle of tea on the bench. Yeah, you cannot have enough blue roll in a garage or workshop, so that has been a great thing to have around the place. Right, now, let's go back into the questions. Let's wake the computer up again. Next question, Hamburg calling from Gillian. Hello Julian, how are you? Hello Matt, hope you're well. With the Cabrio being almost ready to be sold, do you plan on an immediate replacement, or to concentrate on the other remaining projects first? Rover V8, Mercedes-Benz, etc. Take care, Julian. Right, well, yes. I hadn't really thought that one through, but someone has offered me something very exciting which I've wanted for a long time, and I couldn't really say no. And they've said they'll hold on to it until after the convertible has gone. So my plan was to move straight into getting the bodywork done on the Mercedes, the W123. But hopefully this other one won't need too much and I can get it going fairly quickly. I'm hoping, from what I've heard about it, it won't be another Quentin. It'll be a quick sideline in amongst the Mercedes. But yeah, my plan for this summer is to get the W123 and the V8 both working by the time the summer's out, so I can actually drive these cars fairly soon. Although part of my plan for the W123 is actually to lag it out for another 2 years, because in 2023 I won't have to pay road tax on that car or MOT it. So if I can put off fixing it for 2 more years, that'll save me a lot of admin. Right, next question. This is from Davey, who sent in the mini stuff. Hey Matt, hope you're doing well. My question this month, is the car you regret selling or knew when you took one last look at it that it was the biggest mistake you ever made? And do you ever look for any of your cold cars to think about buying them back? Cheers, Davey, Scottish Car Enthusiast TV of Sticker fame. Yeah, there's a couple actually. I used to have a Rover 216 Bubble, which actually stayed fairly local after I sold it, and I saw it on the road a couple of times, but I think it's long gone from the DVLA website. But yes, I do frequently look, but the ones I think we've pretty much established all the ones I've looked for have gone. And it's not really any particular order until we get to number one. I really regret selling my E30 320 BMW because I sold it for far too little. I put a bit of work in making it a nice car, and it was a lovely solid car. None of the usual rotten spots on it, and yeah, they skyrocketed in value just after I sold it. And I quite enjoyed that car. I wish I'd hung on to that one, just because I only owned it a short time. I wish I kept it for longer. We used to have a Barchetta, which is one of the few cars we've bought new over the years. Didn't keep it that long, kept it about 2 years, or even less possibly, because of various reasons. But anyway, we've looked at it from the DVLA website, and it seems to have vanished. So either it was written off when it was very, very new, or it was taken abroad to someone who had a holiday home in Italy or Spain or somewhere, and it lives on the continent now. But we keep on looking for that one, it never turns up. Likewise, the Fiat Punto convertible, which we used to have, or Mrs. Furious used to have. That one I keep checking the number plate for in the DVLA, and that seems to have vanished. So I regret selling that. Don't regret selling my Range Rover Classic, apart from the fact even as a non-running wreck it would be worth an absolute fortune now, so I do regret selling that for £800. But the car I absolutely do regret more than anything else is my Alfa 156. I part exchanged it for my 159, and yeah, it didn't want to go. When the guy came to collect it, because I bought the 159 from Stoke-on-Trent, so a driver came down with the 159 and was driving the 156 back up north, and the car had been running beautifully. I'd taken it out that very morning and just had one last sort of sorrowful drive in the thing. But when the guy sat in the car, moved all the seat and steering wheel, the thing wouldn't start. It decided it wasn't going to go, and it took him about 2 hours to make it start. Even the AA turned up to make it go, and the guy was like, well, if I can't take it back, you're not part exchanging it. And I think the car didn't want to leave. But no, that car lived up north for a little while. Then a friend of mine here in Kent bought it again, and it had done virtually no miles, hadn't been serviced, but had all the body buildings taken out. He offered it to me when he sold it, and I didn't say yes, which was stupid, because I really regret that decision ever since, because it wasn't a lot of money. And that car has again since vanished from the DVLA website, because I have been hunting. I do sort of frequently sort of search forums and eBay and that kind of thing for it. GK55ZNT. If anyone knows the whereabouts of GK55ZNT, it is a 2005 Lipari grey, which is a very dark graphite metallic grey 156 Lusso, which is a late facelift car with a red leather interior. If anyone knows where that car is, I would love to have that car back. It was the absolute best. I did 150 something thousand miles in it, and it never let me down. It was totally un-Alfa-ish in that respect, and it was beautiful. The seats are so comfortable. In fact, I suspect, because it had such lovely red seats in it, someone broke it just to turn them into armchairs or something, which is the fate of a lot of 156s and 147s, because the seats are too nice, and the cars were worth peanuts for a long time. So yeah, I do frequently search for old cars, and that 156 is the one I regret selling more than anything. Actually, in a strange kind of way, we had a Saxo for about a month as a fill-in car when we needed a loaner, when my wife's 147 had a problem with the gearbox, and the garage we took it to just messed up completely and made all kinds of excuses, and we just didn't have the car for a month. So we bought the cheapest car on Auto Trader back when it was like, comes out Thursday morning, and you sort of rush to be the first one to get a copy, and I just rung the cheapest car within 50 miles, and it was a Saxo for 150 quid. And that was battered, but it was brilliant fun, a really good car. So yeah, I miss that car in a funny sort of way as well. Next question, this is from Ian. Hello Ian. Hi Matt, if you could have any car from the 1979 British Leyland range, excluding Rovers or Land Rovers, which model would you select, and at which trim level and colour? Oh god, that's a technical question. I'm going to have to use the internet for this one. I think the camera's fallen over, hang on. Maybe not, I don't know. Right, okay, having had a bit of a think, now, not Rover, not Land Rover, Jag is the obvious answer here. An XJ would be fantastic, a big XJ saloon, but I kind of prefer the more slightly smaller, sportier, nimbly things. So I reckon a Dolomite Sprint from 1979 would be my ultimate 1979 choice, and they did it in that fantastic yellow, which I don't know the name. It's like a bright, in-your-face yellow, a bit like this packaging actually. Dolomite Sprint in yellow would look fantastic. In fact, I might go and check eBay for one in a minute because I really do quite fancy them actually. They're really cool cars. Yeah, I'd not really thought about that for a long time, but yeah, I know I Drive a Classic bought a little Triumph this week as well, or unveiled one I should say. But yes, Dolly Sprint, yellow. Right, next question from David. Hi Matt, hope you and the family well. I think we're okay, thank you. Many thanks for continuing with the Patreon YouTube videos, even as your other work picks up. I imagine it's tough balancing act with family duties as well. Do you know what, I was actually debating whether to carry on with doing these and the live chats, but I think I will do for now and see how they continue to go down. First question for April Q&A. When we can finally attend car meets again, which is the first car you would take out from your glorious collection? I think it's possibly a misuse of the word glorious there. Maybe the glorious Volvo. Again, not sure it's the right use of the word glorious. To something like Haggerty Festive of the Unexceptional in summer. Or the 145 to Alpha Owners Club meet. Or make an entrance at a classic car meet with the Rover V8. Well, good question. Yeah, there are a few Alpha meets which are planned for the summertime. So I don't know which one will come first, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I've had an invite to an Alpha meet. There's a huge Alfa Romeo meeting in the summer, which I hope I can take the 145 to. Festival of the Unexceptional. I'm looking into going to that one. I think, yeah, you're right. The Volvo would be perfect for that because it's an absolute base model. It was an expensive car in its day, but it was absolute base model, and it wasn't exactly frowned on, but it wasn't kind of revered at the time, so it would be a perfect car for an exceptional. So if I can make it to that one, I can't remember if I'm going to be doing something else on that same day. I've got a feeling it clashes, but I'm hoping I can wangle it so I can do that. V8, I'm not making any firm plans for this bad boy because who knows when that's going to work. I need to do a couple of little things to the white Rover 2000, which everyone seems to have forgotten about. I mean, I have as well, because it's out of sight, out of mind. But I think the Rover 2000 is the car I'd like to take somewhere first to a show, because it's kind of my oldest, longest owned car. It's actually my oldest car as well. And it's the car I kind of like the most, but I just need to do a couple of more jobs to it before I take it on the road and consider it okay to be using on the road for my safety and everyone else's, namely a bit of steering work. That steering box is still not right. So yeah, so out of the three, yeah, I think the two you named, the 145 and the Volvo, followed probably closely by the Rover. Or having said that, because it's 20 years of the Mini R50, there's a good chance there'll be some Mini things going on, and the Mini Club are very, very active indeed. And actually the Tomcat Club are really good as well, and so there's a good chance there'll be a Tomcat meet of some kind pop up unexpectedly, and I'll wind up taking that to it. So yeah, I think the Rover 2000 is the car I'd like to take most, but likely to be something like the Alfa or the Mini, or the Volvo. I hope that answered that clearly. This is from Will. Hi Will. Hi Matt, just wondering how you go about selecting cars for the Furious fleet. Do you have anything in mind beforehand, or are you acting on impulse, or a bit of both? Love the channel, all the best, Will. Thank you very much indeed. Well, yeah, it's a bit of both, which really pans out. Very occasionally, I buy something I actually want. For example, the 145 is a car I had been looking for ages. I mean, I'd had like searches out for 145 on eBay, going through Auto Trader, Facebook Marketplace, all that kind of thing. For a 145, I reckon for a couple of years before I found that one. And those cars are properly rare and just don't ever turn up. The Mini, Y-Ridge Mini, that's another one. I actually went hunting for that car because working for Modern Mini magazine, we did a feature about the fact that I think it was 15 years of the Mini at the time, and me and the editor couldn't believe it's 15 years of the Mini, and we both thought it was really cool that these Y-Ridge early production semi-prototype cars were actually out there in the wild. Finding one was actually quite tricky because no one was listing them as a Y-Ridge. As far as any listing was concerned, it was a 2001 Mini, so you had to go into all the photos of 2001 Minis that were in the right colours and potential trim to be one, and look at the number plate and do a bit of a search. So yeah, those two, for example, I did spend a lot of time actually hunting for. But a lot of the time, cars find me. Quentin was offered to me by a viewer who basically said that Dad was going to scrap it if no one saved it. He'd been offered like £100 by the scrapyard. If I could match that, then would I match it in order to save it, because his dad wasn't particularly sentimental about it and just wanted it gone. The Rover Coupe kind of wound up in a similar kind of manner. I bought that by chance. Someone knew I liked old cars, and I was on the spot, and they said, well, would I give them 200 quid to take it away? And I said, no, I'll give you 100 for it. And that's how I ended up with the Coupe. The Volvo, I bought that for a cheap car challenge, which I mentioned just earlier in this very video. I had a budget of £500 to buy a car and get it road legal, including MOT and that kind of stuff. And so that was just going through Gumtree late on a Friday night, looking for anything that was like sub £200, and I just absolutely lucked out with that car, because that car is fantastic. The W123 I found in a barn. It was a literal barn find. I was at work and this thing was sat in a barn, and the owner said, the barn's been pulled down, it's in the way. You were doing us a favour if you take that car away, which is not something you hear very often. So yeah, it's a little bit of both really. Yeah, but occasionally I do go and find a car I want particularly, and more often than not though, it does seem that the cars just turn up. This V8 for example, I was already in the Rover P6 Owners Club, and they used to have a free cars section about 10-15 years ago. These were worth very little indeed, and it's incredible when you see the prices of them, how they've risen in the last few years. You had a free car section, so people had projects they didn't want anymore, they were giving them away, and this was local to me. I'd always wanted a V8, so I took it on the promise that I would attempt to fix it. Yeah, oh, the Mercedes Estate, that wasn't, I was particularly looking for a W204 Estate, I was looking for a rear-wheel drive manual diesel Estate, and my search just kept leading me back to that particular car. And a bit of research showed how good they are, so I bought it. Yeah, I do have other cars. I keep mentioning I'd love an Austin 7, I'd love a Crown Victoria, and I keep kind of searching for them, looking for the right car, particularly with the Crown Vic. That needs to be the right one. But at the moment, I've got nowhere to put a Crown Vic, so I'm going to have to, I don't know, move something on or get more space. So yes, it's a little of both. Very, very ragtag kind of situation here. Right, this one is from Gideon. Hello Gideon, hope you are well. Hi Matt, hope you're doing well. Still enjoying the content you make, keep it up. Thank you much indeed. You are my favourite channel on YouTube. Oh, thank you very much indeed. That's more flattery will get you everywhere. Love the diversity of cars and the tinkering. Question for this month, what's your favourite design body shape of car? Coupe, saloon, station wagon, hatchback, etc. Not SUVs and crossovers. We both don't like them. Yeah, I'm famously not a fan of SUVs and crossovers. He's got a couple of nice cars, which I'm hoping we can get to do in the summertime, but you know, the continental divide is keeping that from happening at the moment, with travel to Europe not easily easily accessible for the time being. Although, if I can get to go on holiday to Europe this year, then maybe I can sort of divert back past, and that's an idea actually, I hadn't thought of that. Right, anyway, yeah, so my favourite style, in terms of how it looks, my favourite style is a saloon. I think saloon cars are the perfect shape in terms of balance and proportion. If you look at an Alfa 159 saloon, for example, just plucking the obvious car from the void, or even actually an E60 BMW. It's a bigger car, it's got a quite aggressive look, and the flame edge design took a bit of getting used to, but if you look at just the way that they sit on the road, they look fantastic. Nothing really much looks better than a saloon, in my opinion. I like sports cars and things, and coupes. Coupes look nice as well, but often I do think the saloon just got a nicer shape to it. In terms of everyday use and practicality in a car for all seasons and all reasons, then you can't beat a station wagon and a estate car. They are the ultimate car in my opinion. If you get a four-wheel drive estate car, that you don't need anything else. The Volvo V70 all-wheel drive estate, that would see you through anything. You get through fields, you get up mountains, you get loaded with a ton of stuff. If it wasn't for the massive tax bill on the back of that, same as on a Subaru actually, Subaru estate, four-wheel drive, get you anywhere, don't need an SUV. Better handling than an SUV, got most of the looks of a saloon. I like most cars, to be honest. It's just SUVs, I think, look bloated. They look obese cars, and crossovers just look. It's just lazy styling. It's just no, just don't. So yeah, saloons and estates. Saloons first for looks, estates for practicality. And I think this might actually be the last question. Crikey, rattled through them in quite a lot of time. Last question today from Graham. Hi Graham. And it says, hello there, I had good intentions about writing up questions earlier this week, but things got away from me. Here we go. I appreciate these are late to the game. Don't worry, you made it, because I was quite late to the game filming it as well. As it turns out, it's now 7:30 on Sunday evening, and I might be putting out at Well, I think it's probably a bit late putting out Sunday now. Probably Monday. Who knows? Right. What is the fate of Quentin beyond selling it? Will it get that paint job that it deserves? Will I lose the shop? Yeah, the shop is on the line on this one. Is there strong money in rusty Rovers? If they ever happen, will it appear at a car show? What cars are spawned currently? Crikey. Lots of them. Will the Volvo be used as a challenge car it was originally purchased for? Or how has it now exceeded the money paid down to participate? Would I consider using it for one of these endurance rallies like Rust to Rome or something like that? And is the Mercedes coming back anytime soon? And did I get all my number plates, plaques mounted on the wall? Yeah, I actually posted number plates and plaques on Facebook and Instagram. If you don't follow me, I'm on FD_tweets on Twitter. And I'm just on, I think, just Furious Driving on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. And there's also a Facebook group called Furious Driving Fans, which I didn't set up, but does exist. And you can find stuff on there. I'll try and post a picture of that wall. I've actually mounted them on the wall that have turned up so far. They're actually really, really cool. I've mounted some batons on the wall to screw to, because this concrete stuff, whatever these bricks are made of, you cannot get a drill through them. So I've mounted some batons up there, and I've screwed the first batch on there, and they've actually filled those wooden batons really well. So I need some more now to fill another row. Right. First question was, what's the fate of Quentin beyond selling it? Yes, it is booked in for a paint job now. I might have... when did you send this? Only days ago. I did say in the last video involving Quentin, I have decided to pay for the paint job because I want it done rapidly, turn around as quick as possible, and also done to a good standard, so no sort of faffing and redoing. So I'm going to pay for it, get it done professionally, so the car will look fantastic. And yes, we do stand to lose the shop on this one. And then once that is painted, then it will be available for sale, and hopefully it'll go to either a viewer of the channel who appreciates it, or someone in the Rover community who's going to like it, and not just to someone who wants a cheap convertible to thrash around and abuse. So I will probably be advertising it in the various Rover communities, and let you guys know on here. Is there strong money in rusty Rovers? Well, actually, surprisingly, yes. The value of 90s Rovers, the R8 series in particular, has risen dramatically in the last few years. So I've seen convertibles like Quentin going for sort of £4,000 or £5,000, even more at some of the posher dealers. I think I saw one for £7,000 or £8,000. I'm not going to try and push that kind of money on him though. But I think the condition he will be in, it will actually justify all the money that's been spent on it, and he will actually be worth pretty much exactly what I've spent on the car by the time it's done, because it's going to look fantastic. Because I'm not finished yet. Apart from the paint, there's a few other jobs, and the car is going to be absolutely mint. It's going to be quite a shame to sell it, because it's going to be absolutely beautiful. And if it all happens, will Quentin appear at a car show? Don't know, because partly because I don't know what car shows are actually happening, and I don't know how quickly he'll sell. Maybe I will take him to a show. If I've not sold him immediately, maybe I'll take Quentin to a show or two and then put a for sale sign in the window and walk home. So who knows? I wouldn't plan on it though, because I suspect the time it's done will be just the right time to sell a convertible. It might sell pretty rapidly, so I might not get a chance. What cars are currently sawned? Well, at the moment, Tomcat Rover Coupe is sawned and at someone else's house, just on the drive under a cover. Mini Cooper is sawned. What else is sawned? What else have I got? Volvo is taxed. The Alpha is taxed, although it's not going anywhere now. Quentin is taxed because they keep moving them around to get jobs done. What other cars have we got here? Mercedes 123 obviously not taxed. Rover V8 obviously not taxed. Yeah, I think only Mini and Coupe are sawned at the moment, and they're actually two of the best cars I have for not breaking down and being really reliable transport. So naturally, they're not on the road. I'll tax them next month. Will the Volvo be used as a challenge car, or has he exceeded the money he's been paid to participate? Yes, he has. It has. I've never assigned a gender to that one. I call him Vafud, which is one of Odin's names meaning wanderer. So Vafud hasn't... I think he has gone over budget now, because I think putting new tyres on it pushed him over budget. But if we do redo that challenge, yeah, I will still take him to that, and we'll make special dispensation. I'll just take a hit on the points for the value. But that car will be entertaining to drive. And I do have plans, not necessarily for an organised rally, but certainly I have got ideas for a trip or two to take the Volvo on. Considering the amount of fuel it uses, I think I'll probably just go down to the chip shop and back again. No, I've got a grand idea or two for that car, but you know, I'm not going to announce it now, just in case it doesn't all come off or anything. But yes, there are plans for the Volvo, which is why it's still here. Is the Merc coming back soon, anytime? Now, do you mean the grey one, which someone asked about previously in a question? That I'm going to do an update on that one next week, just to say what's going on with that car. Which is, it's just being fantastic. It's the worst YouTube car I've ever owned or could ever own, because it provides absolutely zero content and just goes to work and back, and you put fuel in it, and that's basically it. W123, yeah, now the weather is picking up, and well, it depends how much time I get. I will start hitting the welding on the W123 and the brakes on the W123 in the very near future, and so we'll get that one back on the channel soon. The problem with the 123 is it lives outside under a cover, and all the time it's wet or snowy or anything like that. And we've had some sort of sudden rain and things when it's been like a nice dry day and then suddenly rain's been appearing. You can't then go and sort of start working on it, doing metal work, and then slapping a cover over it, because you just trap moisture under there and it just gets rusty. So yeah, that's been an issue with that being outside. Yeah, and then so yeah, that will be back on the soon. Then we've answered the number plates question. They look really cool. Anyone's got any more to send in, then please do. That was Graham's question. I think that is the end of the questions. I've no idea how long this has taken, because I'm not behind the camera. Yes, that is all of the questions. I will just say these stickers are available on Redbubble. T-shelf, that is Rover, spelt in Japanese because of the Honda tie-up, which I thought was quite amusing. And for you driving, head over to the Redbubble store. If there are links to lots of different things, but if you look on other items and other items from this person, whatever you want to call it, then there's lots and lots of stuff. I think I've got about 10 or 15 designs on Redbubble. So right, thank you very much indeed for watching to the end. I hope this has been interesting, enlightening and entertaining, possibly even informative. It's like the BBC, but rubbish. If you have liked this, then please do hit like. If you haven't liked it, then don't hit a dislike or a subscribe. That just makes me sad. If you'd like to ask a question next time, then basically you've got to go and be a Patreon or a channel member, and there are links to both of those in the description below, and that not only allows you to ask questions, it means I get to finish the cars quicker. And what else was I going to say? Yes, if you'd like to send stuff into Junk in the Trunk, then please do. This feature would be nothing without you guys, so thanks to everybody who has sent in either an object or a question. I appreciate both massively, and I hope everyone else has enjoyed the stuff that's come in. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in a regular video very soon. Take care everyone, and goodbye.